But you need to make sure you differentiate between whether or not this person actually went to an accredited institution versus one that is not, okay? So our school is accredited, and you want to find an accredited naturopathic doctor. In Arizona, you won't have that problem because you're required to have a license in order to practice here. But just FYI, just in case you move like I did. Okay. And of course, down at the bottom, lots of dedication and hard work. It's always required. Okay. So the last part of my presentation involves going through all the principles, as I mentioned earlier, that I would talk about. I pulled this little picture up of this cute kid because I've been on PED shifts for about 2 quarters now. And I love the little kids, and it just seemed appropriate because the first 3 points actually kind of related to this little kid that I named Little Timmy. Okay, so we're going to talk about Little Timmy in relation to the naturopathic principles that are listed there. So our first principle is first do no harm. This actually is said by a lot of medically trained individuals. Like when they graduate, they hold up their hands and swear they won't do any harm. But fundamentally, at the core of what we do, we really uphold this philosophy because in comparison to like allopathic medicine or your standard medical doctor in America, if you just kind of pay attention when all the commercials are airing during the news, they're talking about, oh yeah, we've got this drug, we want you to take it. However, it may cause fatigue, nausea, diarrhea, and sudden death. So if you have all these other things kind of going on, it's just like, okay, I thought you said you weren't going to do any harm. So the naturopathic medical world actually takes this into consideration, and our goal really is to not do any harm to patients, but to help them restore their vitality and clean up their house, okay? The second point up there is the healing power of nature. Because I was a teacher, I'm going to give you all a quiz question. Are you all ready? Okay. Raise your hand if you think this statement is true. Fevers are good. Okay, that's awesome that over 75% of you raised your hands. That means you're a bit more knowledgeable than the standard American. However, most people think that when a fever happens, it's only natural to give the child or whoever, we'll say little Timmy in this case, an antipyretic to decrease the fever. However, that may not be the case. There could be critical situations if the fever spikes too high that it would be appropriate. However, in some cases where the fever is generally low and you know it's just a little like bacterial type of infection, the body is trying to heal itself by spiking that fever. So this is a fundamental concept in our principles. We want to let the body run its course in healing. So also kind of coming along with that, it can tie into the next principle, identify and treat the cause. Sometimes a lot of people have issues with their health because of kind of at the core of whatever they're dealing with is basically they haven't given their body a chance to heal. So through years of suppression, through suppressive therapies with medications or things of that nature, their body really is kind of like really clogged up and dirty and mucky like that first house you saw, okay? So this is something that you also want to consider. Another example could be, for example, little Timmy having like an ear infection, like otitis media. A lot of times, for example, if a child has an ear infection, the parent takes them to the doctor, and what does the doctor give them? An antibiotic, right? And then 2 months later, guess what Timmy has again? Another ear infection. So what does he get? Another round of antibiotics. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle that's not addressed. We want to identify why little Timmy is getting the ear infections. It could be dietary, it could be environmental. There are a number of reasons, and that's what naturopathic medicine is here to do, to identify whatever that cause is, okay? And then our last 3 points are to treat the whole person. A lot of times, I've actually heard countless stories of this in school where some patients have gone to doctors and they have some issue, but it's kind of vague. Oh, it hurts right here, doctor. Oh, but then sometimes it hurts right here. They really aren't suffering from like Munchausen's disease where they kind of just think they have everything and everything hurts. But the patient really is kind of ignored, and the doctor may perceive that patient is kind of not really knowing what's going on. So the alternative for them is to just give them some type of like psychological medication to kind of dull or dumb down whatever their complaint is. In naturopathic medicine, we recognize that should not be done. We listen to our patients. That's why it takes like an hour and a half to do that first intake to figure out what's really at the core of this patient's problem. So that way we can treat the whole person. Sometimes people are in toxic relationships. Sometimes you just need to get rid of that old ex-boyfriend, you know? And that might be something that we would help you consider and recognize. Physician is teacher. This should be stated without, it's kind of obvious since I was a teacher. It actually worked out really well. I actually did not know the root word of doctor. Dossier meant teacher, but it was kind of like perfect because I love teaching. So in naturopathic medicine, what we want to do is empower the patient to know, okay, this is what you can do to be healthy, to restore your house. So your house, your body can look like that little house over there. And it's not all beat down, tore down, and can't withstand any viruses or anything that kind of come along to try to make your body sick. So we want to continue to help you do better and get better. And then the last point, prevention is the best cure. The top 3 leading causes of death in America currently are heart disease, cancer, and stroke. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know there are steps that can be taken early on in the life of an individual to prevent that from happening, or at least decrease the probability of it very, very significantly. And even if you are older, there are things that we can do to help revitalize you so you can get back to this healthy state to where you also can have prevention of these things from occurring in your life. But again, it's just a matter of you taking responsibility for your health and recognizing that, yes, there are options out there. There's naturopathic medicine, there's allopathic medicine, which is the way medicine is generally practiced by medical doctors in America. And you have to figure out which model is best for you. Most people will fall somewhere in between, but it's your responsibility to figure out how much you want to dedicate yourself to putting in the time to doing what's necessary to get your house to that shape. Okay?